Hey there, race fans. It's Race Day Top 5 with me, Frank 5. Good to be back after this wild, crazy events that have happened since the last time I posted on YouTube. At a break, just getting through all this. But NASCAR is back today, and it did not disappoint. Under strange circumstances, it did not disappoint. We're back rolling, and the only man who has not finished outside the top 10 in any race so far this year capitalized on his 50th career victory. Let's get to it. Number 1, Kevin Harvick, the man who's leading the points and the only guy who has yet to finish outside the top 10 in any of the NASCAR races so far this year, got his first win of the season today at the Real Heroes 400 at Darlington Raceway. And yes, I know you think race 5 is supposed to be Atlanta. No, with what's going on, it's Darlington today, and they'll be racing again on Wednesday. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But Kevin Harvick captured the Real Heroes 400 victory today over Alex Bowman, who finished second, Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin. Kevin Harvick was so good. I mean, Harvick's always been good at Darlington. I mean, remember 2014, he won the Southern 500, had one of the best cars. 2016, should have won that race, but his pit crew, unfortunately, not nowadays. His pit crew is so much better than 2016. His pit crew absolutely blew him his second Southern 500 victory. But today, in NASCAR's return, Kevin Harvick was so good. And clean air, even at Darlington, a track where it's old, abrasive, and it can chew up the tires like Atlanta, clean air meant everything, and Kevin Harvick was perhaps the best car in the clean air today. I mean, when you're getting clean air at almost any racetrack, it always helps. But Kevin Harvick today, with the speed he had and everything that his crew put in, even during this whole pandemic thing, shows that he is definitely on track to have a chance of winning his second NASCAR championship later this year. And his 4 team definitely put on a good effort today, and hopefully he put on a good show for all of us here watching at home. And it was a good performance, and Kevin Harvick certainly is one of the guys to beat for the championship later this year. Number 2, Alex Bowman had a pretty big weekend. Let's first start off with what happened yesterday before we get to what happened to him today. Yesterday, big news. One of the questions was, with his contract at the end of the year, would Alex Bowman be back with Hendrick Motorsports? Well, yesterday, he signed a 1-year extension deal. I know that you think, well, maybe he deserves a 2-year deal, but he extended 1-year deal, and that's good. He extended a 1-year deal with Hendrick Motorsports that could give him an opportunity to get more sponsors, hopefully, that would be willing to be on his car for 2021. I mean, he's got sponsorship this year with Valvoline, Exalta, Luma, and then NOCO, which is a Hendrick Tools operation. They sponsor him for the first time this season, I believe, today, and put up a solid performance all day long. He was one of the fastest cars out there. He was really fast. All the Hendrick cars were fast, and I'll talk about them in a moment. But Alex Bowman was pretty much the class of the field for Hendrick Motorsports. I don't think he let the top 5 or top 10 all day long. He was literally up there with Kevin Harvick, Polster, Brad Keselowski, and a lot of other guys. I mean, Alex Bowman and the Chevrolets, they look really good. Alex Bowman so far is off to the best start of his career, with Hendrick Motorsports and in Cup Series. I mean, a couple, obviously in March, he won in California, which is a big win for him in a contract year. And, the contract extension yesterday and the solid run today shows Alex Bowman could be a championship threat this year. It'd be pretty cool, and I definitely think Alex Bowman is one of the future drivers, not just of Rick Hendrick, but of NASCAR all in general. And he had a solid performance today and is carrying on his momentum for what has been a good start to him this year. Number 3, the Hendrick Motorsports cars. They were all very good. I mean, listen, they've been good since the beginning of the season. They've all been up there battling up in the top 5, top 10, and battling for wins a lot this year. As I mentioned, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott was up there. I'll talk about him later in my driver recap. And early in the race, Jimmy Johnson. We're seeing the old Jimmy Johnson so far this year. He has had some really good race cars, folks. He looks really close to getting back to victory circle. And today looked like other than Alex Bowman, he had a really good car and could win. He was about to win stage 1. But on the last lap off of turn 2, Chris Buescher trying to prevent himself from getting lapped, checks up, and Jimmy Johnson, unfortunately, was on the bottom, clipped Buescher, and he went straight into the inside wall and finished 38th. I'm just like, I couldn't believe that happened. I mean, Buescher has the right to try to stay on the lead lap, but come on, the leader's right behind you. He's trying to win a stage. You're not even in the point. You're trying to stay on the lead lap. I was like, I couldn't believe that happened. I was shell-shocked. I mean, it was unfortunate because he had a good race car, but Jimmy Johnson, I definitely think he's going to win a race this year. And the other Hendrick car, William Byron, had perhaps so far one of his best runs of the season other than California. It looked like he had a car that could compete with Alex Bowman, Kevin Harvick, and those guys. But in the middle of the race, in the middle of stage 2, after winning stage 1 because of Jimmy Johnson's issues, Byron got loose in the middle of 3 and 4, smacked the wall, and that killed his car. He was able to finish, but he fell multiple laps down, and he wasn't a threat whatsoever. But Hendrick Motorsports so far is off to a much better start than when they were, almost as good as they were when they were in 2014, let's say, because all the Hendrick cars were really good that year. So it's just been a really good start for Hendrick and the Chevrolets. Number 4, the return of a couple of veterans. So obviously with the whole pandemic, it gave us time to regroup. And you would not believe, after what happened to him in the Daytona 500 this year, Ryan Newman returned today. The Rocket Man made his return to NASCAR after he announced on one of the iRacing events that we've had lately at Talladega that he was cleared to go. He only missed 3 races because of this pandemic. Not bad for Ryan Newman. I mean, for a bruised brain, after what happened, and then 48 hours later, walking out of that medical center with his girls was incredible. It was just a blessing. A guardian angel was watching over Newman. And Newman had a really good run today in the 6 car. He was in the top 10 earlier. He fell back. He spun late. Finished 15th, which is not a bad result in your return. That's pretty good. But also, Matt Kenseth is back. Okay, so Matt Kenseth did not have a ride at the beginning of this year, and we thought, oh, he's retired. He's done. Well, while we were away, Kyle Larson, who was originally the driver of the 42 car, you heard me say that originally, he's no longer with Chip Ganassi. He's not in NASCAR right now because of something he said during an iRacing event. A racial slur. I'm not going to say it. It's not appropriate. It's something nobody should ever say. And unfortunately, he said that on an iRacing event, and that got him fired from Ganassi, Chevy, and all of his sponsors. And Ganassi was like, okay, well, who's going to be the driver? So most people thought Ross Chastain, but he is running for the Xfinity points. And they brought the last person I would have thought would ever come back, Matt Kenseth. Fun fact, they actually called Carl Edwards, but he said, no, I'm not coming back. I'm still committed to being retired. But they bring a good veteran, a former champion, Matt Kenseth, out of retirement. That's pretty cool. And by the way, NASCAR has granted him and Ryan Newman, if they can win a race and be in the top 30, waivers to be eligible to make the playoffs, which is pretty cool. And Kenseth in his return and his first race with this new package, the low horsepower package that he did not drive at all. Last time we saw it was in 2018, but we didn't have that package back then. Matt Kenseth did really well for himself today. I mean, he didn't score stage points, but he ran well most today and finished 10th for not being in a car in almost 2 years and running this new package. Nice job. That was really good. That was a great performance by Matt Kenseth, and it's great to have him back. Do I think he can win? I think he can win, but I'm not saying definite he can or can't win. I'm just saying let's see how these races play out, and if he is capable. I mean, he's capable enough, but are the cars good enough for him, and will the tracks be good enough for him to win at? We shall see. It's been a long time. He hadn't won a race since 2017 at Phoenix. We shall see. But it's good to have Matt Kenseth back, and it's so good to have Ryan Newman back in the car, and prayers worked for Ryan Newman, and it's good to have him back. And number 5, the racing today. I thought it was solid racing in a return. The first 4 races before the pandemic, they've been really solid. The Daytona 500 was awesome, despite the Newman crash. Vegas was awesome. Fontana was the best race in a long time, and Phoenix race did not disappoint for a track that's going to be hosting the final race of the season later this year in November. And, return, I know we're supposed to run Darlington once this year, but with, all the changes, and we had to eliminate some of the tracks, sadly. Darlington is, getting a spring race for the first time since 2014 and the first 400-mile race since 2004. It was a good race today. There was a lot of passing, side-by-side action. I mean, clean air, obviously, when you're the leader, it's tough to pass the leader in clean air, but you can on the restarts, but after that, you kind of lose a little bit of position. You can't keep up, but it was good racing for the most part in a return, and hopefully it helps the viewership. The one thing I was looking forward to, as well as my father, through this, getting back to NASCAR, even with no sports around right now, it can help bring more fans to the sport, new fans. And we look at this as like the 1979 Daytona 500, where the Northeast was completely snowed in and they had nothing to do except just turn on TV. And they happened to catch the first ever live broadcast of the Daytona 500, which we all know what happened. Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough, Donnie Allison fighting in the infield after a crash. battling for the lead in the last lap, and Richard Petty won his 6th Daytona 500. It was just a big moment for the sport, and hopefully, even with the stuff that's going on, it can help bring more fans to the sport, and that's what we look for through this whole pandemic, and hopefully it works, and I think we saw a good race today, and hopefully the viewership can go up through this race. The driver recap, Chase Elliott, 4th place, solid effort. We were a good card today. I mean, we were on the latter half of the top 10 for the most part, stage 1. Then, at the beginning of stage 2, we got caught for speeding and had to restart, and we kind of had to play catch-up, running top 15 for the most part, which, wasn't bad. And then, towards the end of stage 3, later, as we got up in the top, I'm like, wow, whatever we did to the car, I mean, good job. I mean, it's been a great start. Chase has had really good race cars so far this year. I mean, he's off to a good start. I mean, almost the same start he was in 2017, even though he didn't win that season. He's still off to a really good start this year. Points-wise, we're good. We've got good cars. All we just need is a little bit more luck, and we're going to get to victory lane, and we're going to make the playoffs. I mean, we're going to do it anyways, but it was a good race today for Chase Elliott. A couple other things I want to mention. Martin Truex Jr. got his first top 10 of the season. Yeah, I know. The first 4 races have not been good for Truex. And people, I still don't know how he got top 10 today, because at the beginning, he was awful. That car was dropping like he hit rock bottom. That car was terrible. And whatever James Small, his new crew chief, by the way, because Cole Pearn retired after last year, whatever James Small did to that car today helped Truex, and I'm sure he's really happy to come away with a 6th place finish. And rookie shine today. Tyler Reddick had a really good race car today. I mean, he ran up at the top 5 at one point, fell back, then he was able to pick his way up back to 7th place. But 9th place, John Hunter Nemechek for Front Row Motorsports? Are you kidding me? Fun fact, that team has not had a top 10 in a non-super speedway event in 3 years. That is amazing. John Hunter, he's 22 years old. Of course, he's the son of Front Row Joe Nemechek. That kid can drive, even in equipment that's not even race-winning equipment. He literally schooled a lot of guys. He even schooled most of the favorites for the Rookie of the Year contender this year, and Cole Custer and Christopher Bell. That's impressive. John Hunter Nemechek is the real deal, and honestly, I think he's going to be the one that's going to make Front Row Motorsports fairly relevant this year, and probably even any other race. So, Front Row Motorsports has got a good driver in John Hunter Nemechek. That's all I can say about that. That was just a great performance by him today. And a lot of good performance, and it's so good to have racing back, even though this whole pandemic stuff. It's been tough to go 10 weeks with not having live racing. I mean, I watched some of the iRacing events. They were good. But, obviously, race fans, you want real racing back. We got it back today, and we're going to be doing it again at Darlington on Wednesday night. The Xfinity Series will be running Tuesday. And next weekend, the Coca-Cola 600. Yes, it's still getting its date. It's still going to get kept. Then we're going to run in Charlotte again on Wednesday. Then we're going to Bristol. Then we're going to, I believe it is Atlanta. Then Martinsville Wednesday night under the lights. We're going to have that under the lights race as promised. Then we're going to go to Homestead under the lights on a Sunday night. And then we're going to go to Talladega. We already know the next couple of races. We don't know everything else. But we hope the playoff races stay the way they are for the most part. And hopefully, I'm praying, we can have fans back in the stands before the year is over with. I hope the races I'm going to are not until September. Let's hope we can have fans back in the stands before that, because it'd be a shame if we have to miss the rest of the season and not have any fans in attendance. It'd be bad. But, not getting political or anything. Let's just hope we can turn it around and we can continue to do our part. And it was just good to have racing back today. It was great to be back it was great to see the drivers back at the track and put on a good show. And hopefully they can do it again Wednesday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just so glad it's back. I know I keep saying it, but I'm just so happy. I'm on cloud 9. We're back, baby. So we'll be racing at Darlington again on Wednesday night, and it'll be the Toyota 500K, 500 kilometers. They'll shorten the laps, it is what it is. But we're gonna get ready to get back racing on Wednesday. So subscribe, like, congrats to Kevin Harvick, his first win of the season. He's locked into the playoffs, and NASCAR again is back. Let's get at it. Have a nice night, and I'll see you Wednesday.